Hello, you guys. Hey, everyone. It is Abalori here from 1720 Finance coming in with a week two, quarter one, phase one update. Coming in with a quick video, you guys, with the update as to where I am finishing up phase one for, of course, quarter one of the year 2025. We are in January, as many of you know. And if you are new to me, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. And I thank you for joining me for my journey into becoming debt free, or what I like to consider debt free. And debt free for me, you guys, right now in this point in life is just basically paying off any debts outside of my student loan, my mortgage, and my son's car. And my son's car actually was a car that I purchased for myself. And because I worked from home, he and I share a car because he's a college student. And at the time his car went up, my car was going up. So I decided to purchase a new car. And essentially I gave it to him. And I know I'm going in a roundabout manner, but I gave it to him to get back and forth really to college. And honestly, you guys, it really wound up being his car because, like I said, I worked from home. If I needed to get a ride, then I would obviously use his car, or I would at the time call on my mom, use her car, whatever the case may be. But if you guys don't know my journey, I guess I can give you a quick backstory. I am Abalori. I founded 1720 Finance off of the principle of using the faith of a mustard seed to get you through any financial difficulty. My channel was named something previously for a couple months, and then a year and a half ago my mom passed away, and just the things that she always instilled in me was have faith, and all you need is faith of the size of a mustard seed, and it'll get you through anything. And so when she passed away unexpectedly, that was a thing that kind of always stuck with me. She would always just say, keep the faith, have a little bit of faith, things will work out. And so I retitled and kind of rebranded my businesses under the title of 1720 Faith. And off of that is 1720 Finance. And I have 1720 Apparel as well. And so by trade, by life career, I am a registered nurse of 25 years. And I used to work full time up until my mom got sick, and I decided to take a leave of absence. And then ultimately, due to the stress of her untimely death, I decided to step away from working full time because my job at the time was very stressful. Then dealing with her untimely death, also going through a divorce at that time, a separation at that time, all of the stressful things. And I decided to just pretty much start working for myself, really working as needed as a nurse. So I do have a part-time job, and then I do have two casual jobs where I just kind of call in and say, hey, I'm working tonight, or do you guys need me tonight? Or I'm coming in, Saturday night or something like that. And pretty much it has worked out. And so for me on my budgeting journey, I pretty much keep my part-time job. I work about 3 days a week. And then the other days I fill in with my other jobs. Obviously, I can pick up when I want to work. I don't necessarily have to pull a full-time schedule weekly. But however, for all intents purposes of definitely getting in, paying off these debts, I decided to increase my hours and work a little bit more, just because I feel like this is what ultimately is going to work for me in paying off my debts. So that is pretty much where I am at this phase of life. And so let me just back it up a little bit. Back in June of last year, I was left with a bunch of vehicle debts. And so I happened to co-sign for my ex at the time, who was my husband at the time, to get a car. He didn't fulfill his obligations with the car. He did not pay the payments. Thus, I have been paying on the car just so that I don't have a ding on my credit. He didn't pay the taxes on the car. There was some tolls on the car. There was just a bunch of debt that was left on the car that, of course, I got stuck with, in addition to the car that I bought for my son, the taxes with that. And then, of course, acquiring my mom's car, the taxes with that, the registration in the process of that, my son being a new driver, 16, 17, 18 years old. He got some tickets, red light tickets. He did get a speeding ticket, albeit I have pretty much laid the gauntlet down about the tickets and the tolls. It's like us giving away free money. The tolls, I kind of gave him a grace period on, because at the time his dad had given him an easy pass that you stick in the car. And what he was doing was, my ex-husband was putting money on the easy pass, but when he stopped putting money on the easy pass, my son still kept going through the tolls, not realizing there was not money on the easy pass. And so what the easy pass would do is it would give you a discount, basically, so to speak. But when the money was not on the easy pass, it was reading the tags. And so instead of us getting a discount, it was charging us full price every time he went through the tolls. So by the time I realized that, hey, I'm getting, like, every month we were getting a toll, like tolls were just coming to the house. And when I finally got a hold of what had all been happening, and that the easy pass didn't have money on it, and my son just he did not know, he did not realize, his dad did not tell him that if the easy pass doesn't have money on it, you can't just freely go through the tolls. Like, we're gonna have to pay for these tolls. And so again, I had to give him grace with that, because he honestly did not know. It was not presented to him in the correct way of knowing what the purpose of the easy pass is. And like, if you don't have money on it, you can't go through the tolls. Like, you can't go through the tunnels because it's too much money. And so when it all came down to it, the tolls just kept adding up. And then finally, I got to the end of the tolls. I had to explain to him, don't go through any more tolls right now until I pay this bill and I put money back on the easy pass. So fast forward to where we are today. I live in the state of Virginia. And so here in Virginia, we have property taxes on our cars. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. Once you buy your car is paid off. You pay that tax on your car. We don't have property taxes that I know of in the state of Maryland. I haven't had any of my friends tell me that they've had to pay property taxes. I left Maryland in 2005, I believe. I think my son wasn't even a year old. He was born in 2004. So I think I left at just like the mid part of 2005. And I don't think he was quite a year old yet. And so we did not have to pay property taxes on our cars. And so this was new to me when I moved here to Virginia, that even if you bought your car, even if you came with your car from another state, you still had to pay property tax. So even if your car is paid for, you still have to pay property tax every year. They are supposed to be doing away with the property tax. And so I'm looking forward to that, because it's like, we got enough taxes here. Why we pay for a car, we pay taxes on a car, and then every year we're still paying taxes on a car. You purchase the car, you pay taxes on the car here, and then you still pay taxes on a car every year. It just doesn't make sense. But long story short, the property tax here adds up. So depending on how expensive your car is, your property tax on your car can be very expensive. I know people who own Mercedes-Benz, I should say, and they're, in addition to their car note being expensive, their property tax on their Mercedes is like, anywhere from $600 to $800 a year. And that's because, again, if the more expensive your car is, the more expensive your property tax is going to be. Just like your house, the more expensive your house is going to be, the more expensive your property tax is going to be. And so when it comes to our property taxes here, the Honda Accord that I bought, the property tax for that Honda Accord is about $460, $470 a year. I'd be so glad when they do away with these taxes, because that's like an extra $400 I can keep in my pocket. I don't make my son pay for it because honestly, he is a college student. He's a full-time college student. He does work on the off season when basketball's not in, or like college has been out for the holidays, so they've just started going back. So which means his hours will be cut because he goes to class and then he has basketball practice and games. So he can work, but it's like limited, very, very limited. And he tries to work on the days that he doesn't have class or he doesn't have a game, but in between the game days is practice days. So he does try to, pull his weight as much as he can. But because I like to focus on him staying in school, graduating, keeping his scholarships through his grades and playing basketball, keeping the scholarships like that. Of course, as any parent, you're not going to tax your college kid because they don't have anything, which again, the purpose of him doing the right thing is making sure that all his bases is covered as the parent. So, I mean, he does put gas in his car, he does try to help out with the maintenance, like, oil changes, things like that. But anything big, like, he needs a serpentine belt. So I'll get to that. But so anyway, property taxes, I do not make him pay because obviously he can help pay for it. If I ask, he would definitely come up with the money. But I feel like I want him to make sure he takes his money and he does for him. Him doing for him is less, stress on me. And so the property tax on that car, and I'm going to go down on this sheet because I feel like it's going to be out of order here. But the property tax on that car is going to be for something, and then I'm going to scroll down, and then the property tax on the Hyundai Santa Fe that I have is $3 something. So all of that together, you guys, I am down here in the last block, is $829.07. And so that is the current property tax of both cars for this year. Now, here in the state of Virginia, you have to pay your property tax in order to register your tags, in order to get your stickers for your tags, the stickers that, tell you the month and the year, so your tags won't be expired. You have to pay your property tax, and then you also have to pay any tolls that are associated with your tags. If you don't pay any tickets, any tolls, and your property tax, you cannot register your car for that current year. And here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we can register our cars for up to 2 years. So I can buy stickers for 2026 and 2027. And so, but if I don't pay these things, I can't register my car and my tags will be expired. And so this is what I consider phase one. And so what happened was, again, we live in the state of Chesapeake, so my property taxes are considered to be Chesapeake. My son, he was going to school, went through a red light. He got a red light ticket. Obviously, it came in my name because the car is registered in my name. We talked about this, and that was $100. Again, these Chesapeake property taxes here, you guys, was from a van, the van that my ex had, that he never paid the property tax on. I don't know how it slipped through the cracks. I don't know how I did not see that. I assumed he was paying for it. And so these have kind of added up over time. So I had to pay those. Okay, tickets. My son, again, this was I think this was a speeding ticket. And so this was his first speeding ticket. He did tell me that he was speeding, so he was honest about it. He told me he got pulled over speeding, whatever. He said he didn't think he was going that fast, but nonetheless, like I told him, it's your word against theirs. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a ticket. It's always going to be your word against theirs, even if you try to go to court and fight it. unless you got really great proof, you're not going to be able to beat the ticket. The ticket was $130. Again, so where you see Virginia Beach, this was the ticket he got here. I think this is a red light ticket, if I'm not mistaken. The Virginia Beach property tax here was, again, the van that my ex-husband had this van. And I think somewhere down the line, the property taxes were hitting and missing. They were giving us credit, then we wasn't getting credit. Something was getting paid, then it wasn't getting paid. So this is why you see Virginia Beach. I had to keep calling because I needed to know what year the taxes weren't getting paid, what was being credited. And so every time I called, they were crediting us, and then another year or something else was rolling over. And so that, until I finally got the full amount that needed to be paid. So that's why this Virginia Beach property tax, because the van was bought in the city of Virginia Beach where we lived at the time. That's why property tax is on here several times. Okay, so the Virginia Beach ticket, this was actually the speeding ticket that my son got. I think, yeah, this was the ticket that he got. I think this is another red light ticket, and then a speeding ticket all together. And it came to $323. Again, at this point is when I told him the grace is over with. If he got another ticket, if he came home, that is when I was pretty much going to take the keys. He wasn't going to be driving. He was going to have to Uber, get some friends to pick him up. I'd walk, catch the bus. I don't care what it was at that point, because at this point, I was already putting out over $400, $500 in just his tickets alone. And so this is kind of where I drew the gauntlet down. And I told him, if I get one more ticket in the mail, I don't care if it's a red light ticket. I don't care if it's a ticket that you was jaywalking. I don't care if it was a ticket that you looked at the officer wrong in the car. The car will be parked, and you won't get it back until I deem you safe enough to drive. This is pretty much where I had to pretty much get into mother role. It isn't that often that I have to really get into mother role with him, a stern mother role, because he's pretty much on the up and up. He's pretty much responsible. It's not too often, again, that I have to really, it hasn't been too often in his 20 years of life that I had to really had to get into mother role. But when it comes to me putting out monies that is just ridiculous, and monies that I could save, monies that I could have given him, like, we're just throwing away money just to be throwing away money. And to be honest with you, I already give the state enough money when I work in taxes. So why am I giving away free money? So at this point, I pretty much told him that any more tickets he's going to pay, and that we will park the car and he won't be allowed to drive. So this is the end of the road for the tickets. And he has not gotten one since. And so this, I can't remember, this was like around August of last year. And so again, rounding out the property taxes on the van, we pretty much, that was pretty much the last one that I paid. Now, when it comes to the tolls, again, these were tolls that my son had, and yeah, the tolls that just was adding up, you know. He was getting tolls this month. The statement was coming in. So this is why it's so many tolls on here. Property taxes, again, property tax. I think what happened in some of these instances, you guys, now that I'm going back and revisited, these are also property taxes for my home that I have lumped into here, because I just went on and paid anything that was a property tax. I went on and paid. So now that I'm thinking about it, anything that says a Chesapeake property tax actually was like we have to pay sewer tax here. So I just lumped this into all property taxes and tolls. And so this is what it all boiled down to be. So excuse me. This is how I lumped it all together, because at this point, I'm like, well, property tax is property tax. At this point, it could be the house property tax or the car property tax. It's still deemed property tax. And I just like, let me go ahead and put it all into phase one. So this is why. But the Virginia Beach property taxes that you see here was for the van. The Virginia Beach ticket was actually for my son. The Virginia Beach property tax, again, is for the van. Anything that you see Virginia Beach property tax was for the van. Anything that you see Chesapeake property tax in these small amounts was we have to pay again sewer tax, I believe it is. And I think we have to pay that twice a year. I think we get it every 6 months. And so that is what this is. And I need to probably go in and fix this. So this was sewer tax. I'm pretty certain this was sewer tax. Yeah, that sewer tax. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's something that I have a bad habit of doing because there's such low amounts that I sometimes don't pay these until the end of the year. And and so it's kind of my fault. And also I own a business, so probably somewhere lumped in here, I'm going to go back and look, and I'm going to figure it out, because I think what also is my business tax in here, and so I went on and paid those. So I really do need to go back and edit this a little bit and put what was my business tax, what was my actual car tax, and what was my actual house tax. And then that will give a clearer definition of what my property taxes was. And I think that I will go and do that, just so I will make another box so that I can break all of that down. And it'll probably look a little bit, make a little bit more sense to me at the end. But at the end of it all, through all the tolls, property taxes that I have to pay, it is going to be a grand total of $2,968.70. What is completely left to pay, you guys, right here is in blue. These are the last of the tolls. And yes, the tolls were quite ridiculous, just because if you don't pay the tolls here, so they give you a statement every month of all the tolls that you have from month to month. Well, it carries over. And so if you don't pay the toll, there's a late fee, then there's a percentage of the total fee that you owe plus the late fee. Then there's another percentage tacked onto that. And so an example would be if you go through the toll and the toll is $7, and let's just say I get a toll today, and this month is January, and I get a toll for $7. If I don't pay that toll the month of January, when I get the next statement in the month of February, that $7 toll is now going to be roughly about a $40 toll. That's how much they tack onto it. So now that toll is triple. And more than triple, because 7 times 3 is 21. So it has magnified triple times 2. So now that $7 toll, and I may be exaggerating just a smidgen, but it definitely is a huge jump. And so that $7 toll will now be anywhere from $30 to $40. And so if your toll bill is already sitting at $200 or $300. So once they add in the late fee, the late fee, then the late fee plus what you owe, then they times that by another percentage. That now that $200 is now already sitting at $400 or $500. So each month it adds up, and so by the time I got the ERT bill, it was already sitting at like $300 or $400. And so again, this is why this ERT bill is so high. And to be honest with you, I did not focus on paying that, because what I focused on for me was the most important, and that was my property tax. The reason why I wanted to pay my property taxes off completely, the ones that were outstanding, was because you all know that with taxes, they will put a lien, a garnishment on your finances, your bank account, your pay, your whatever you get from the IRS. We all know that they will garnish your checks, they will levy your bank accounts, they will take your money away from you. And so for me, when it comes to anything with the word tax, I'm just going to go ahead and pay it outright, because I don't want them taking any money from me that I have to earn through either paying my taxes or getting my IRS refund, I should say. So go back to what I said. If I owe any type of taxes, they can take that out of my refund. They can hold my refund up. They can, reduce my refund, take any monies away, put a hold on my refund. And so I felt like for me, paying the taxes was the most important for me. I don't need them taking my refund. I don't need them levying my bank account. Even though these are small amounts, they're not, astronomical to what other people probably owe. But even for me, taking any types of money away from me, either through a garnishment, a bank levy, or holding up my IRS refund, I don't want to be in any realm of that. And so for me, the important thing again was to pay my taxes. Now, again, even with the taxes and the tolls, if you don't pay your taxes and your tolls here, yes, they will report you to DMV and they will hold your tags. They will not allow you to renew your tags if any of this is outstanding and not paid. So this is why, again, I chose what was what was important first to focus on, and then will pay everything else subsequently. And so last but not least, and you may say, well, Abalori, you're focusing on paying the toll. The reason why I'm focused on paying the toll is because, again, this is a lower amount. I can go ahead and get it over with and done. Either way, no matter how you slice the pie, skin the cat, whatever you want to say it, I still have to pay these. I still have to pay the property tax, and I still have to pay the ERT. The reason why I'm not too focused on paying the property tax is because it's still current. I'm not in no way, shape of getting, any garnishments or anything like that. So it doesn't matter which one I pay. I still have to pay both of them before I renew my tags. And the goal, because I still have to pay such a significant amount, the goal is to pay both of these off by mid-February, and I'm saying within the next month, because again, this month, I still have to pay mortgage, I still have to pay utilities at home, like I still have to maintain home, and then once I finish paying everything here for home, then I can go ahead and take the next check and do the rest of this. And so this is where I am sitting at now, and hopefully I'll be done with phase one. And phase one, you guys, was honestly just tolls and taxes for the car, tolls and taxes. That was it for phase one. What I just recently, and sitting here and just talking, I was actually doing a live before I recorded this video. What also I had included in this was I thought about making phase one all about the car, but what I decided to do was, no, let me keep phase one about the tags, tolls, and taxes. Let me just keep that as is. But if I did make phase one just everything about the car, I'm talking about car maintenance, tolls, tags, taxes. What I was realizing was, bear with me, if I did it the way that I was about to do it, when I thought about it, that meant that, hold on, come on, what happened? I was trying to, hold on, you guys. My sheet is going slow. So what happened was, I was actually thinking about as I stated, making phase one all about the car stuff. So I said, well, let me make phase one all about the car stuff. If I had made phase one just all about the car stuff, this would have been my grand total. It would have been $4,468.70. But then I said no, because technically it's not, phase one was just me paying off tolls and taxes. That's all phase one was. It did not include maintenance, because at the time the cars did not need any maintenance. When I started this process back in June of last year, the cars did not need maintenance. The Honda windshield, that happened within the month, the end of November. And then about 4 or 5 days after a rock hit my son's windshield, a rock hit me. I was on my way going to grocery shop, and I was behind a truck. And as soon as I was about to pull over, a rock hit the front of my windshield, literally, legit, like 3 or 4 days after he told me a rock hit the front of his windshield. So I was like, so within a week, both of us needed a new windshield. And then within a rock hit his windshield that Monday or Tuesday, and then his car was to go to be serviced that Friday, which that was already planned. And so he came back with the printout, and he needs a serpentine belt and some spark plugs. And so he went in I scheduled it to go in and get the winterized maintenance package, because again, it's his car. I want it to last until he gets out of school. He's in his second year of college. It was bought so that it can last him 4 years. So when he graduates in another 2 years, if he chooses to do whatever he chooses, it'll be paid for. It's his. But this just came about within the last month. And so he needs a serpentine belt and spark plugs. So what I said was, no, I'm not going to lump that in, because this was not supposed to happen. This happened months afterwards. So that is now going to be put on this spreadsheet down here for car maintenance. And that's just where it's going to be. I do have to get some repairs on the Hyundai, but right now I'm just going to wait. I'm going to go ahead and get everything done for my son's car, and then I will work on mine. I know mine is not going to be that expensive. I know that I'll need a tune-up and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I know I'm already sitting at like 20, almost 30 minutes for this video, or over 30 minutes. But that is where we are for quarter one, phase one check-in, currently sitting at $2,968.70. Once everything has been paid off, then I could slap a big old paid on this, and phase one will be done. I'm looking to have phase one paid off by February, and it will take me it will have taken me a total of 8 months. It shouldn't have taken this long, but again, I was paying off 1 or 2 things at a time, and that was in addition to, of course, you guys, maintaining a home. Then I still have credit cards that I have to pay, other small nuances that I needed to pay. So that's why this has pretty much stretched out as long as it has been. So that is it, you guys. I'll be coming in next week with another update as to what I am going to be doing for phase two. I think phase two is probably going to be car maintenance, because again, I need to preserve these cars. Credit cards is not going anywhere. I have a few little outstanding bills. They're not going to go anywhere. And it's really not like my HOA fee and stuff like that. That's not going to, it's not going to go anywhere. But there are a few other things that they just got to be paid. They're not going anywhere. But we need our cars. I don't need our cars not getting fixed, breaking down further because we're not maintaining them. And then it's costing us more money in the end. And so that is probably what phase two is going to be, is more car maintenance. And I'll just still continuously pay down on my credit cards, as you can see. But that is it, you guys. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully phase one will be done. And I look forward to moving on to phase 2 and 3. And I do have another personal finance tracker that I am using in addition to this budgeting tracker that you guys see right here. I am going to be debuting that soon. I'm still fine tweaking it, learning how to maneuver it. And I will be showing you guys that probably the end of this month, going into February, when I'm using this month to play around with it. So hopefully February, I can show it to you guys and you guys can get to purchase it. Hopefully it'll do well for you as it's working well for me. So until the next time, if you have any questions, please comment in the video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.